So I had just come off of maternity leave, having my second child, and I was miserable. The kids were not happy. I was not happy. Discipline was an issue. The SOLs were definitely the last thing on their mind or my mind. And every day it was a struggle just to get up and come in. And so we left for Christmas break, and I really thought, am I going to come back? Do I want to do this anymore? Because I was absolutely miserable. And I just wasn't sure that it was how I wanted to keep going. And so I did a lot of thinking and a lot of sort of soul searching. And this is the only thing I've ever wanted to do my whole life. The only thing I've ever wanted to be is a teacher. And so suddenly it was like faced with the possibility of not doing it anymore. 13-year career down the drain. What am I going to do if I don't do this? And so, I really did a whole lot of soul searching. It was like, how am I going to make this work? If I want to keep doing this, something's got to change. There's got to be something different. And, they always say, like, people will say, oh, I had an epiphany. Well, I kind of had an epiphany. And I realized that my problem wasn't the kids. It wasn't the staff. It wasn't the building. It wasn't anything except it was me. That ultimately I was the problem. And so if I was going to keep doing this, then I was going to have to make a change. And I probably wasn't going to be able to make the kids change, but I could make myself change. So we came back from Christmas break, and I didn't just change my attitude, I changed everything. I changed the way my classroom was laid out. I changed the way my classroom operated. I even changed the way my classroom was decorated. I tried new activities. I walked away from the constant lecture, which was what I'd been doing for the last 13 years because that was the only thing that I'd ever been taught to do as a teacher. And so I walked away from all of that. We started doing interactive stuff. I changed the way that I handled discipline with my children. It was just a complete and total attitude change. I decided that if it wasn't positive, it couldn't be in my life anymore. And unfortunately, that included a lot of staff members that I worked with. And that was probably the hardest part, was that I had to cut ties. I had to move away from people that had been some of my closest friends for 13 years because I just realized that if they were negative, I was just going to fall back into that old trap. They would just drag me right back down. And so I made the decision that if my staff members weren't going to support me, if they were just going to be negative about new things that I was trying or stuff that I was attempting to do, then they just had to go. And so I've gotten a lot of strained friendships now. I'm not as close to people as I used to be, but I think that my teaching is better. I know that I'm much happier in the classroom and out. And so, change is scary, and it was scary. It was very scary to come back and think, I'm going to do stuff that I've never done before. I don't know whether it's going to work. I don't know whether it's going to blow up in my face. But I just knew that if I was going to make it another 13, 14, 20 years in this field, that I was going to have to make the change. The sad part, I think, is that I wish I'd done it earlier. Like, I'm really sorry that it took 13 years into my career for me to finally realize that I was the problem and that I needed to do something different and that nobody else was going to be able to fix it but me. I wish there had been some, magic sign or magic button, but those are the things they don't teach you about when you're learning to be a teacher. And so my only regret is that it took so long to figure it out.